And while I'll acknowledge that that is leaps and bounds better than their contingency plan last year and Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, and Trevor Siemian, that is the lowest of bars to clear. I just don't understand why the viability of the 2024 Jets has to hinge on Aaron Rodgers being a guy that we haven't seen in 3 years, which is playing at an MVP level. Like, that was the last time that Aaron Rodgers was good. Think about it. The last season in Green Bay from A-Rod, it wasn't great. They had a Week 18 winning-in game against the Detroit Lions, who had nothing to play for, and Rodgers fell flat on his face. I just don't understand the logic of the New York Jets if it comes to making sure that the franchise lays the groundwork to have sustained success, that has an opportunity to end the longest playoff drought in North American team sports. I don't get why they...
The game you just referenced, the Lions game for the Packers in his last season there, to me, that's a signature Rodgers game. Am I nuts to say that? Like,
no,
when I think about Aaron Rodgers' career, I'm going to think about a title. I'm going to think about the 4 MVPs. Mm-hmm. But I'm also going to think about his last game as a win-in to get into the playoffs, and they lost at home to the Lions after multiple years of playoff failures. That game's going to be on my mind when I think of Aaron Rodgers' career. I know that's separate from the Jets, but you brought it up, and it triggered a thought for me.
It's not going to – no, I listen, and I think it's going to be more than a footnote. Because you can't explain a guy that has had his individual success only making it to 1 Super Bowl. Now, he won that Super Bowl, but he's only been to 1 Super Bowl.
Right.
That was the 2010 season. That's it. He hasn't been able to get to that point. So for a player to have 4 MVPs on his resume and to only make it to 1 Super Bowl, here's the thing. For context, there have been 5 quarterbacks that have won 3 MVPs or more. Aaron Rodgers and 4 other ones. The other 4 made it to multiple Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of it. So, I mean, you're talking about Peyton Manning. You're talking about Brett Favre. You're talking about John Elway. Obviously, Tom Brady. Like, those guys have been to multiple Super Bowls. If you're such an individually great quarterback, then why haven't you been to more Super Bowls? Now, that's a separate conversation from what we're having right now. I guess my whole point is the Jets are putting all their eggs in the Rodgers basket for the 2024 season. There's no guarantee that, A, he's going to be healthy and productive the entirety of the year, but then also if he is, in fact, healthy and productive, that equating to you actually winning the whole damn thing. So why not take advantage of the position that you're in now, having a top 10 pick with this current crop of quarterbacks coming out?
But does part of you think that maybe that could get him better? Take a quarterback, annoy him, chip on his shoulder?
Yes. Absolutely. And by the way, if I'm the New York Jets, I don't care what he thinks. He's not my long-term answer. I really only have to worry about what he cares about this year. And even then, I don't care.
He might not be your answer this year, though, Smalls. You're talking about long-term answer. He might not be the answer this year.
But you know what I would say internally? We did it his way last year. How'd that work out? We did everything he wanted. We placated him. We brought in all his buddies. He went down 4 plays into the season. How did that work out for us? Not great. So going into this year, not only would I think a Rodgers with a chip on his shoulder and annoyed Aaron Rodgers is probably going to extract the best results from him because he's a guy that does like that external motivation. I am saying to everybody else, we need a plan for the future. Tyrod Taylor is a great backup option to have. He's not our plan for the future.
He missed a month of the season last year due to injury. That's why we saw Tommy Cutlets.
Yes.
Think about it. The only reason we saw Tommy Cutlets for 5 games as a starter was because Tyrod got hurt. He got hurt.
Yes.
Like, I love Tyrod Taylor. He's a former teammate of mine. We were down there in Baltimore together. I love Tyrod. And I'm not trying to disparage him. But to sit here and think that, oh, he's going to be the difference. He's going to be a guy that can keep our playoff dreams afloat. If Aaron Rodgers has to deal with an extended absence due to injury, it's just ridiculous to me, especially considering the draft capital that they have. But here's the problem with the Jets. Because they went down the road of Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago, their decision tree has centered around doing what's in the best interest of making the most out of that decision because it covered up an all-time gaffe with missing on the 2nd overall pick of the quarterback in 2021. And the head coach and the general manager are playing CYA and trying to save their jobs with Aaron Rodgers. So every decision that they make from the point that they traded for Rodgers is going to be to try to prop that up and make that the right one rather than deciding that they're going to hedge toward the future with having a more viable plan as a backup quarterback.
I actually think drafting a quarterback this year, though, is a way for them to potentially have a baked-in reason to keep them if it doesn't work out with Aaron Rodgers. Because at the time, everybody thought that was the right decision. Go out and get somebody with the resume like Aaron Rodgers, a proven commodity to add to this talent with the Jets. A lot of people thought it was going to work out. Maybe it doesn't this year. But if you're trying to save your job, if you're Rob Saleh, you say, we have a new young quarterback in the building. Let's see what we can develop him into and surrounded by the talent that we already have on the roster. That might be a way to save your job if it doesn't work out this year with Rodgers.
Can we put a name to it? Is it Michael Penix Jr. that you want?
No, I think they'll have a chance to be able to get Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy.
Do you think he'll be there at 10?
Yeah, I think like in my latest mock last week, I had J.J. McCarthy fall into 9, and the Denver Broncos trading up with the Chicago Bears to take him. So, I mean, it'll be in that range, 7, 8, 9, I think, when the fourth quarterback will come off the board. If you're the Jets, that's close enough. That's close enough. If that guy falls out of the top 5, which I think will happen, then you have an opportunity to get the franchise quarterback of the future. And here's the thing. I get that the Jets don't have a great track record when it comes to drafting quarterbacks, but what's your solution? Not draft a quarterback? That doesn't make sense. You keep swinging until you hit a home run. You keep making the picks until you get it right. Bill Barnwell came out with an article over the weekend, and he talked about it. He said, it makes sense to reach for a quarterback because of the value proposition. If you hit on that player, the value that they represent is exponentially more than what another player at another position can do for your ball club. So if you're the New York Jets, yeah, you keep reaching for quarterbacks until you actually get one. That's going to allow your team to have sustained success.
We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.